So over the years, we've run lots of weird cold email tests, and in this video I'm going to go through 5 of them, and I'm going to rank them from sort of least effective to most effective. Some of these you've probably seen other agencies run, and some of these I haven't seen anybody else test. So the first one I want to talk about is one that I came up with a year ago, and it's called pre-inboxing, or I've called it pre-inboxing, maybe other people have called it something else. Essentially, when you're emailing somebody for the first time, if you've already emailed them and they've replied, you're likely to always land in the primary inbox moving forward unless they move it to spam. So my idea was you could pre-inbox, meaning before you started your campaign, let's say, I think we're doing this 18 days before, but you could probably do it sooner and they wouldn't remember. You could email them, for example, a med spa or lawn mowing services or anything. We're doing it for med spas. And we emailed them saying, hey, are you open on the weekends? And we got like a 40% reply rate, between 30 and 40%, which is great. It means that our email list is pretty good. Okay, and then we wouldn't email them for 3 or 4 weeks, and then we would start our campaign. And so a few things, we would email them regardless of if they replied or not, but the assumption was we would know for the people that replied, that would definitely land in the primary inbox. We're also doing video outreach, and when you're sending videos, you're more likely to go into spam. And so we know that if we'd pre-inbox and they'd got a reply, that we're almost definitely going to land in the primary, even if we were sending them a video. So that's something that we tried and we tested, and we did get slightly better results from it. And I would say that if you are running into deliverability issues, or if you're not sure if you're delivering, it's a very good sanity test to send them something that they would reply to. Hey, I can't find pricing on your website, how much does it cost? Hey, are you open on the weekends? You send them something like this and you will see that you get replies, and so you're like, okay, so I'm emailing the right people, they just don't care what I'm saying, right? So it's a good sanity test. In terms of us using it, we stopped using it because it got very complex to have a campaign and then half of them, or let's say a third of them, would reply or not reply. That means that they had to go into like a different subsequence, because typically a reply is going to stop the campaign from running. And there was all these complexities around it, and the reporting got very difficult because you're getting a whole lot of replies that don't count for anything. Inbox management became a pain because it's hard to tell if people are replying to a campaign that you want them to reply to, or just this pre-inboxing campaign. So the learnings from this is, I think that there is a way to make it work. We just weren't necessarily in a position to make that happen, but it is good for a sanity test, and I do recommend it when people are just confused, like, hey, is this, like, I don't even know if I'm doing something completely wrong here and these emails aren't going to people at all. And I'm like, okay, we'll just send out 200 emails today off your infrastructure and say, are you open the weekends? And you're like, oh, I got 40 replies. You're like, okay, cool. So you are landing, it's just your messaging. So that is a weird experiment that we've run, and I would say the results were okay. So the next experiment that I want to talk about is sending a video in a first email versus in a second email. So I'm always going to tell people, if you're doing personalized video outreach at scale, so you're getting personalized videos as a variable and then you're putting them into like Instantly or Smart Lead, and you're sending them out at scale, that you should always do it in the second email because of deliverability problems. Now, we had a client that we were getting like 15% reply rates, and we're sending it in the first email, and then we moved it to the second email, and those reply rates dropped. And we'd been sending this campaign for ages, and so what it kind of showed me was, more important than sending it in first email or second email is the sender reputation on the emails and domains, because this campaign had been running for a year and had been getting lots and lots of replies. And so we started to test this across other clients. And what I found is, on average, the reply rate is going to be better if you send a video or an image or whatever in the first email. However, you are more likely to burn your email accounts. So we typically steer clear of this. But if we've got a campaign, like a legacy campaign, where you're doing something that's not recommended, like sending the video in the first email or sending links in the first email. Something that's not recommended, but it's working, just keep it going, because it's likely that because it's working, you're getting more replies and more positive replies, and there's lots of positive signals that are getting sent to Google or Microsoft or these spam filters. And so just keep it the same, and then if they fall over, stop working, then you can maybe look at doing a safer option for outreach, e.g. sending the video in the second email. The next most effective thing that I want to talk about, and this maybe isn't that weird, but we do outreach for us, and typically Daniel makes the videos, who's my business partner, and our salesperson. And recently we've been going through our list, and we've gone through sort of our list maybe 2 times, and so instead of going through the list again with his name on everything, we changed it to my name, and I made the video, and all of a sudden we just saw an uptick. And what I would say is, if you are doing outreach for yourself or your clients' companies, and you've gone through your email list, I'd recommend changing the name in the emails and changing the person. If you're making a video, the person making the video. Ideally, when you're doing this, you're also changing the angle or the approach of the outreach, but even making the change as to the person doing the outreach does make a difference. We have tried sending it, as a man as opposed to a woman, or a woman as opposed to a man. We didn't find much change, but I know that there's lots of people out there who prefer sending as a woman because they think they're more likely to get replies. From our tests, that hasn't necessarily been the case. One thing that we have found, if you're reaching out to the US, you ideally want to not have a strong accent, because that is what we've found tends to lower the reply rate if you're sending video emails. So that is something that I would say is important. Okay, so this is something that I didn't realize we're the only ones doing until recently. So we do Google Maps scrapes to get a lot of the data that we use to do email outreach. We also use Apollo and LinkedIn based data, but we do a lot of Google Maps data. And one of the downsides is that you often can't get to the first name. When I say often, it's maybe 5% of the time it's hard to get the owner's first name or the decision maker's first name. So what we do in those cases is we just get the company name and then say team. So if you are, let's say, Daisy Shop, we would say, hey, Daisy Shop team, just reaching out, blah, 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 blah. So we used that, and honestly, we get just as many calls booked off that as opposed to using the first name. So it's not really an issue at all. So I would say, if you can't get the first name, just in the first name spot, do company name team as the first name, and that works perfectly fine for us. And finally, the most effective weird strategy that we use is, and it's not even that weird, but I know lots of people do not do this, and I do not know why, send out 7 days a week. We actually get just as good or slightly better responses on weekends. Bear in mind, most of the companies we're reaching out to are small to medium-sized businesses, so the decision maker that we're going after is the owner or the founder. And owners and founders typically do check their emails on the weekend. If you're going out to the head of marketing or something, or a certain different role in the company, perhaps they don't check them on weekends, and it's better to do 5 days a week. But when you're going out to owners and founders, I highly recommend sending 7 days a week. We get just as good results doing that, and it means that we can send out more volume with less email infrastructure, so it's actually more cost effective. So one last thing I'd like to say is, if you are interested in seeing the exact emails that we're sending out, there should be a link to a sheet below this video with all the exact email copy, so you can see sort of how we're doing this and how that sort of fits into cold email outbound and the strategies that I'm talking about here. I hope you found some value in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.